Welcome back, deep divers. Ready for another plunge into history's mysteries?
Always.
Today, we're tackling a case that's been baffling folks for centuries, the Roanoke Colony, or, as it's often called, the Lost Colony.
Yeah, this one is a real head-scratcher. A whole English settlement just gone poof, vanished into thin air.
It happened back in 1587 on Roanoke Island. That's off the coast of what we now know as North Carolina. Over 100 people, men, women, children, all gone without a trace.
Well, almost no trace. There's that one clue. The one that's fueled endless theories and kept folks guessing all these years.
Right, that single word, carved into a tree, Croatoan. Talk about a cryptic message from the past. It's like the ultimate historical cliffhanger.
It certainly is. And that's exactly what we're going to try and unravel today. What happened to the Roanoke colonists? Where did they go?
So let's set the stage. We're talking late 16th century. England is looking to expand its empire, plant its flag in the New World. Enter Sir Walter Raleigh.
A big name in those early colonization efforts. He bankrolled the first attempt to settle Roanoke Island back in 1585.
Which, as we know, didn't go quite as planned. They faced some brutal winters, a real lack of food, and let's just say relations with the local Native American tribes weren't exactly a picnic.
All in all, not a great start. The remaining colonists ended up abandoning the settlement, actually hitching a ride back to England with Sir Francis Drake.
Talk about cutting your losses. But of course, that wasn't the end of it. 2 years later, in 1587, a second group was dispatched. This time, 115 settlers. And importantly, they included families, women and children, aiming to establish a more permanent colony.
Led by a man named John White.
Now, initially, things did seem to be going better this time around. Settlers were building homes, planting crops, really laying down roots. And then a momentous event, the birth of Virginia Dare.
Ah, yes. John White's granddaughter, the first English child born in America.
Talk about a symbol of hope. New life, a new future for the colony. Unfortunately, that hope was pretty short-lived. The colony started running low on essential supplies. You can't build a new world without the right tools.
So the tough decision was made. John White had to sail back to England to gather more supplies, leaving his family, including little Virginia, behind.
Talk about a gut-wrenching choice. And this is where things take a truly dark turn. White's return to Roanoke was delayed for 3 years.
3 years. It's hard to even fathom the anxiety he must have felt. The ongoing war between England and Spain made sea travel perilous. Ships were often diverted for military purposes.
Imagine waiting 3 years not knowing what's happening to your family. And then in 1590, White finally makes it back to Roanoke, only to find nothing. A ghost town.
A deserted colony. The houses were dismantled, but not in a way that suggested panic or a hasty retreat, almost like they packed up and moved deliberately.
And then there were those cryptic carvings, Croatoan, etched into a tree. And on a fence post, just C-R-O.
Croatoan was the name of a nearby island and the Native American tribe that lived there. The Croatoan tribe had been relatively friendly with the English settlers, so this seemed like a major lead.
It does, right. White's thinking was the colonists moved to Croatoan Island for some reason, maybe sought refuge. But here's the thing. Severe storms prevented him from sailing there to investigate.
Talk about bad timing. And the mystery just deepened from there. No signs of a struggle, no mass grave, no bodies.
Like they just stepped off the island, leaving everything behind. It's that lack of evidence that makes this whole thing so eerie.
Absolutely. But as we know, the story doesn't end there. Over the years, there have been these intriguing rumors, whispers of settlers being spotted living with Native American tribes. Some even speaking English.
Like echoes from the past. In 1709, John Lawson, an explorer in the area, wrote about encountering Native Americans with gray eyes, a possible hint of European ancestry.
And then in the 1990s, some archaeological discoveries added fuel to the fire. English coins and a ring found near Croatoan Island.
It all seems to point in that direction, but the evidence is still circumstantial. It's like having pieces of a puzzle, but not the whole picture.
That's the thing about history. We're often left with more questions than answers. So, what are some of the main theories that have been proposed over the years to explain this disappearance?
Well, one of the most popular is the integration theory. The idea is that the Roanoke colonists, facing hardship and starvation, maybe sought help from the Croatoan tribe. And over time, they just assimilated, became part of that community.
The Croatoan carving could have been their message, their way of saying, hey, we're over here now.
But if that's the case, why haven't we found more substantial evidence of this merger, more artifacts, signs of two cultures blending together?
Good point. Maybe the assimilation was gradual, happened over generations, leaving a more subtle archaeological footprint. It's also possible the Croatoan tribe adopted English tools and techniques, masking those cultural differences in the artifacts.
Then there's the attack theory. Some folks think the Powhatan tribe, who were known to be hostile towards English settlements, might have wiped out the colonists.
The problem with that is there's no evidence of a massacre at the site. No mass grave, no signs of a violent conflict.
So, if they were attacked, where did they go? What happened to the bodies? Another theory proposes that the colonists succumbed to starvation or disease, maybe even tried to sail back to England on their own.
But if they did attempt a return voyage, wouldn't we have found some trace of their ship? A wreck somewhere along the road?
So far, nothing has turned up. And then, of course, you have the more out-there theories. Curses, supernatural events, even alien abduction.
Right. Those are definitely more speculative, fun to think about. But without any real evidence to back them up, they're more like campfire stories than historical explanations.
Still, it's amazing how this 400-year-old mystery continues to capture our imagination. People are still actively searching for answers.
Oh, absolutely. Archaeologists are constantly digging, hoping to unearth that one clue that solves it all.
In 2015, a hidden X on one of John White's maps led to a dig near Pamlico Sound. They found English pottery, but no human remains.
And just a few years ago, in 2020, the First Colony Foundation found more artifacts near Croatoan Island. Gun parts, glass beads, things like that.
Maybe that's the missing link. Proof that they did relocate to Croatoan and maybe even integrated to some degree.
It's certainly more evidence in that direction. And there's been some buzz about using DNA testing to trace descendants of the Roanoke colonists. Modern-day locals with European ancestry could hold the key.
That's fascinating. Imagine unlocking the secrets hidden in our genes, connecting us back to those lost colonists.
It's a long shot, but you never know. It seems like the Roanoke Mystery is more than just a historical puzzle. It's become part of American folklore.
There's even a yearly play in Roanoke that reenacts the story, a real testament to its enduring grip on the imagination.
It's a story that speaks to our deepest fears, our fascination with the unknown, an entire community disappearing without a trace. It's like something out of a ghost story.
And some people actually believe the spirits of the lost colonists still haunt Roanoke Island.
Adds a whole other layer to the mystery, doesn't it? But at its core, the Roanoke Colony's disappearance forces us to confront a sobering truth. The fragility of life, especially for those early settlers who braved a new and often unforgiving world.
It really highlights the dangers and uncertainties they faced. It leaves us with those big, lingering questions. Did they find a way to survive, adapt, become part of the Native American communities? Or did they perish, victims of the harsh realities of the time?
That single word, Croatoan, is such a powerful symbol. It represents both a potential answer and the frustrating lack of closure. It's like a whispered clue from the past that we're still trying to decipher.
The Roanoke Colony isn't just a cold case. It's a story about human resilience, the clash of cultures, and the enduring power of a mystery that continues to haunt us centuries later.
Exactly. It reminds us that history is a tapestry woven with both known and unknown threads. And sometimes those missing threads are the ones that spark the most intrigue, the ones that keep us searching for answers.
So, deep divers, as we wrap up our dive into the mystery of the Roanoke Colony, we leave you with this final thought. If you could unearth one piece of evidence, one artifact, one document, what do you think would definitively solve this centuries-old puzzle? And why? What would make that piece of information the missing key that unlocks the truth?